Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Joe from GadgetryTech.com, and today I'm going to talk about the LucidSound LS15. This is the latest headset from Lucid. It is a $100 headset, and they have two versions. They have the LS15P, which is meant for PlayStation, and the LS15X, which is meant for Xbox. Now, you can't buy the P version and use it wirelessly on Xbox, and conversely, you can't buy the Xbox version ending in an X and use it on PlayStation wirelessly. There is one cool thing I want to point out on that note. They both have an analog input, so a headphone jack. So if you buy the Xbox version, you can use it wirelessly on Xbox, but then you can use the headphone cable to connect it to your PlayStation controller and use it on the PlayStation as well. You just won't benefit from the wireless. And the same thing goes for buying the PlayStation version and using it on the Xbox with a wire. So it's compatible, but wirelessly it's only meant for one platform per model. Okay, so getting into specs, the headset uses 50mm drivers rated at 20 to 20,000 hertz. They both come with 15-hour battery lives. They both come with a wireless transmitter, which is great to hear because that means the Xbox version doesn't use the direct pairing feature on Xbox. So the included transmitter is much more stable than Xbox. You don't get any audio cutouts. And the other benefit is you can actually turn the headset on without turning your Xbox on automatically. So I like that feature. As I said, battery life 15 hours. You get 3 EQ presets on both headsets. So you get signature sound, bass boost, and no EQ, which is their version of flat. However, it's not totally flat, of course. It's a $100 gaming headset. So we'll get into the audio test shortly, but I just want to go over the basics. Weight-wise, it's actually really light. It only weighs 282 grams, which is excellent for any wireless headphone, regardless of price point. The ear pads and the ear band, one thing that's nice is they actually use memory foam on both. That's a huge win at $100. Most companies don't use memory foam. They use traditional foam, or you get a combination of memory foam plus traditional foam, depending on what part. So I like that. Now, if you notice the blue tape here, that's because they literally look identical from the P versus the X model. This is to help me quickly figure out which one's which. So as far as the aesthetics go, it has like this faux carbon fiber finish that goes up from the ear cup all the way into the first half of the band, and then the top of the band is an all ABS plastic LucidSound. Nothing fancy. It's odd that the carbon fiber finish or texture doesn't flow all the way through, but I get it for branding. It's a little bit different. Now, as far as comfort and adjustability goes, this uses memory foam, like I said, so it is very comfortable on the ear, and the ear cups themselves are fairly large as well. If you're noticing the way I've been holding this and the way it's moving, it's actually very adjustable. The ear cups rotate to go flat on your shoulder, and not only do they tilt backwards, they actually support a decent amount of tilt forward, and they pivot up and down. This is a very adjustable headset, and they actually fix some of the issues I've had with the LS35 and the LS50s, which are adjustable, but they're a little stiff. This one, when you put it on your head, it naturally conforms to your head. There's no wiggling around to get a good seal. Just put it on and you're good to go. And on that note, clamp force is rather light as well. So this is a great headset for long-term comfort, and the memory foam ear pads are great if you wear glasses. It should keep you comfortable for long periods of time. Now, one of the only things I didn't like about the LS15 is their use of a micro USB port. It's a brand new headset, so I kind of expected USB-C. However, they kind of get a pass because of the $100 price point. The LS50X came out almost a year ago, and that one has USB-C. So they certainly use it when they can. I think this was just an effort to keep the price down. It's not really a fault, because when I start talking about audio performance and game performance and all that, you'll see why this is worth the investment. So without getting too far ahead of myself, why don't we go straight into the mic test? I know a lot of people come to hear how the mic sounds, and then we'll talk about audio performance and everything else. All right, so now I'm talking to you on the LS15P microphone. I say P because in the past, the PlayStation versions usually don't sound as good as the Xbox version because of the protocol they use for wireless transmission. In this case, because they both come with a similar transmitter, microphone performance is identical between the two. I tested this extensively, so I'm not going to waste time showing you both. Microphone quality is really good. It's very flat, not any boomy bass, not a shrieking high, and surprisingly, there is active noise cancellation for background noise, not common at $100. I want to keep stressing that because these guys crammed a ton into this headphone for $100. So if I stop talking, dead silence. So I can actually hear, because I have microphone side tone, which Lucid has one of the best microphone side tones of gaming headsets, and this one's no different. I can actually hear the background noise go completely silent on my headset because I'm not speaking loud enough. So you cannot turn that on and off that I know of yet, but it's so minor as far as impacting your sound quality, and it does such a good job at getting rid of background noise. I wanted to point that out. One really nice feature with all Lucid headsets is you have a tap to mute on the right ear cup. So if I tap it, you get this awesome red LED. So you know when you're muted, and you have a little audio tone that beeps in your headset. And then when you unmute, I hear 2 beeps. So that's really cool. Now another little party trick that Lucid does with their headsets is you can have removable mics, but Lucid actually gives you a second mic built into the ear cup. So now I'm talking to you on the microphone built in, and obviously the sound quality isn't as good. I actually think it's really clear. You just get more background noise because of the pickup method of not having a boom right in front of your mouth. So this is really cool if you use it with a headphone cable to a phone and you want to take a call on the go. It'll look less like a gaming headset and actually can serve as a good music headset or everyday headphone for on the go. So I'm curious what you guys thought of the microphone test. I think it's really good, especially again at $100. I'd say it's mid to upper tier because the only one that sounded more clear to me was the Stealth 600 Gen 2. However, with that headset, you have every bit of background noise being picked up. So if you have a noisy environment, even if you have a fan running or your computer fans are on high, you can actually hear that through the microphone. So that one's really sensitive. This one does a great job of balancing clarity and noise rejection, so that's huge. Now I mentioned the tap to mute feature, which is really cool, but I want to talk about controls because this is one of my favorite things about Lucid with their headphone design. Now the new Xbox headset uses a similar design, but it started with these guys. So on the right ear cup, if I rotate it, I get game to chat mix. That's huge. Now this only works on Xbox, on the Xbox model. If you buy the PlayStation version, that dial is still there, but that only works for PC. So on that note, if you're using a headset for PC, you're considering one of these for your computer, buy the PlayStation version because the PlayStation version shows up as 2 audio sources or output options on your computer. So you can have Discord set to chat output and your game set to game. So now you can actually listen to your buddies on Discord and have audio control separately from that. It doesn't have chat mix on PlayStation because Sony just doesn't allow it. All USB wireless headsets cannot change the game to party or game to chat mix control through the headset. Sony makes that exclusive to their Pulse headset because that's what Sony does. So it's not a fault of Lucid, but I do want to point that out. Just because that function's there, don't expect it to work on PlayStation. Again, no fault of Lucid. That's on Sony. And we're going to get into how these compare to the first-party headsets, which are both $100 from each, both Microsoft and PlayStation. So getting back to controls, I mentioned tap to mute, which is great. I mentioned the audio adjustment. If you press and hold the right tap to mute button, it'll actually turn off microphone side tone, which is the ability to hear yourself. Again, this is $100, so letting you customize that is awesome. Just press and hold it down and it'll disable, and you can still use your mic, you just won't hear yourself. The left side actually has a button to mute game audio. So it's a full audio cutout button that will make the headset basically dead. It's still powered on and connected, but that's so if someone comes in the room or if you get a phone call, just tap that, it'll turn the volume off and you can hear, what's going on in the real world. Now, if I press and hold it, another amazing feature of this headset is it tells me my battery life without it already being dead. So if anyone's had wireless headsets in the past, you know that if you're gaming, you get in that clutch moment, and then all of a sudden, headset's beeping at you like crazy. The battery's low, and you got to plug it in. It is super annoying, and it always seems to come at the worst time. I love this because you can do a quick check once in a while if you think about it, and it'll tell you it's high, medium, or low without getting to the beep stage. So that is huge. Now I get the full, the master game volume dial right here. So this is total volume, and this is game to chat mix. And again, pressing and holding these buttons will do all those cool controls. Now, another thing Lucid does, because you can tell this was built or at least heavily discussed with gamers, if you remove the right ear pad, because these are swappable, there's a reset pin inside. So if you ever get a hard crash, which is a huge problem on wireless headsets sometimes, you can hit that reset pin, it'll reboot the headphones, so you'll never deal with that. These have never crashed on me, but I want to point that out because that's an awesome feature to have, and it's often requested on other headsets that tend to have problems. So that's cool too. Now I mentioned the EQ buttons before. You basically have 2 buttons on the headset. You have the EQ preset, which will cycle, and there are voice prompts to tell you which one you're on. And then the power button, of course, turns it on and off. Just hold it for about a second. Now if you press and hold power button, it puts the headset in pairing mode. Your transmitter has a little pinhole on it. I wish it was a real button, but if you use a paper clip and hold that down for 3 seconds, it puts it in pairing mode. I only had to do that once because I did a firmware update on the PlayStation model and it synced up within a second. So you shouldn't ever have to touch it again. I never lost a pairing or a sequence, even when both headsets were connected at the same time to two different consoles. So again, tons of features for gamers. I love the controls. It's so easy to use. It's comfortable. The hard reset feature, turning off the mic, the game, it's just so much versatility as far as control. And honestly, that's super important as a gamer. Okay, now I want to talk about audio performance because Lucid, again, has their own definition of what the game audio should sound like. A lot of gaming headsets tend to either have a very strong V shape, very boomy bass, a low mid, and then the highs get really sharp. It's get that crispy, tingly sound that you hear when you're playing games like Call of Duty. Now, LucidSound doesn't do that, and it's not necessarily a bad thing because people should have the option to get good sound profiles or different options if they don't like that boomy bass and shrieky high. LucidSound has a very full bass. In fact, I was really shocked that their $100 one has such a good low-end presence because they typically roll off the low bass to help focus on game performance to be competitive. This has great bass, but it's not so overpowering that the mids are gone. Now, it's a very gentle V shape. The mids are a little bit softer, and the highs are relatively flat. So if you're looking for a gaming headset that has that, again, cymbal, really bright, ultra sharp sound, the Lucids aren't it. These are a very loud, smooth sounding headphone. I love LucidSound headphones for that reason. The no EQ mode is a little bit more flat. If you do want to wake the headset up a little bit, just put it back in signature mode and your imaging and clarity is further improved. Bass boost, surprisingly, it does bump the bass up, but not a ton, so it doesn't add too much mud to it. I tend to not like too much bass when I'm gaming because, again, I'm focused more on the details, the footsteps, stuff like that. So signature sound is best for that. Flat is good if you want, or no EQ for your more general purpose EQ mix. Now, I measured the output of this headset. I finally got some real testing equipment. We're moving up and evolving, so I can actually measure the headphones, not just look at spec sheets now. I was measuring latency, channel imbalances, volume output, and the full frequency response. It is an awesome headset, and it backs up something I've suspected of LucidSound for a long time. Whenever people ask me to say, hey, this headset's not loud enough, or is this headset loud? My last one never got loud enough. Lucids are loud. They are the loudest wireless headset I've reviewed, anywhere from $100 to $250. These things pound. And I back that up because I put it on my measurement rig, and when I set a 300 hertz test tone to it to measure the SPL or decibel output of it, so there's two different settings. I got over 100 decibels on a $100 wireless headset. When I cranked the output of my computer to max or near max to where it was not clipping, so basically I measure without distortion, these hit over 110 decibels. That's chainsaw level loud. I mean, that is insane. Just to put it in perspective, my Stealth 700 Gen 2, great headset for $150, still gets really loud. That never passed 100 decibels at full volume. The 10 decibels is huge when it comes to output. Again, chainsaw level versus someone driving a lawnmower like 10, 15 feet away. It is a big difference in sound. So not only do these sound good, they get loud. That's critical at $100 because some games can be mixed a little quiet and you want to hear everything on the subtle parts. So I love that they give you that kind of overhead. Okay, now it's time to talk about how the LS15 compares to the first-party headsets from each console manufacturer. So let's start with the Xbox wireless headset. It's a nice headset. It has a similar design philosophy as far as controls go. Kind of knocked off the Lucid Sounds, but I'm glad they did because that's my favorite way to control it. The Microsoft have really nice ear cups. They have a really nice leather feel, and they're very soft and squishy. But so these have Bluetooth. If you need Bluetooth, if you have to have Bluetooth for 100, this is really it. Now, the problem I have with these is the sound quality is arguably one of the worst sounding headsets at $100. You have to aggressively tune the EQ to fix it. I've released some videos to help, but ultimately you can't fix poor driver design and ear cup design as far as clarity and detail go. So these do lack a little bit in that mid-range and high-end presence for details. If you do not need Bluetooth, you don't have to have Bluetooth, the LucidSound is better in every single way. It is just as comfortable, even though this feels more comfy when you're wearing it on your head. I really can't feel like one's better or worse than the other. But on all the other aspects, sound performance, wireless stability because it uses a dongle, the volume output, the controls for tap to mute, the strength of the microphone, it is an incredible headset. And like I said, if you don't need Bluetooth, the LS15X is better than the Microsoft one. So I'm going to be clear on that. Now, what's funny is the Sony Pulse actually has a different issue to deal with. So The Pulse headset actually sounds way better than I expected. The bass is pretty good. There's no way to adjust the EQ or anything like that, but the sound quality is good. It's comparable to the LS15X, or LS15P in this case. The problem I have with the Sony is it is so uncomfortable. If you push in a little bit, you actually feel a little hard line for the stitching, and the way this puts pressure on your head, it hurts in a very short period of time. Even the ear cups are very small, and as you notice, they're not really adjustable. I mean, that's it. That's all I get. So depending on your head shape and size, you may find this very uncomfortable for long periods of time, and that's a common thing I see online. They try to do the whole SteelSeries ski goggle thing. It feels like this headset's going to fall off up here, but it has these weird pressure points on your ears. So from a gamer perspective, can't stand the comfort. They have the sound quality, or the buttons on these are all on one side. Again, so unintuitive. I mean, I have no idea what I'm changing. Unless I use this headset every single day, you have to like guess where the buttons are. It's very slow to respond. And even though this has built-in game to chat mix, it's delayed. So like when I hit it, it takes a second. Then you see a little prompt on the screen. It's just distracting, and it kind of defeats the purpose of having a convenient button on the headset. So sound quality comparable, but again, the LS15 is better in every other way. Now, on the note of virtual surround sound, the PlayStation version, of course, works with the whole Tempest 3D audio stuff that Sony does, and the LS15X does support Windows Sonic, Dolby Atmos, and DTS, of course, because that's all done on the console side. It's not that there's a headset that doesn't work, it's just a matter of if it comes with that license or not. You don't necessarily need it because it has 3 EQ presets built in. However, getting an Atmos or DTS license may improve the sound quality further. I found for $100 it really knocks it out of the park. So it's not an essential thing, but it does work. So that brings me to my closing thoughts, because if you cannot tell, I love the LS15. This has become my new favorite $100 model because of a few things. So gamers, when you look at a headset and what's important to most people, there's the obvious. There's the comfort, the sound quality, the mic, and battery life. You know, you want it to last a while because over time the batteries degrade a little bit. This checks all those boxes. But what a lot of people don't consider is the controls and the interface on the headset and wireless stability. You don't often see that mentioned on write-ups. They don't talk about that in the specs as much. Lucid's actually done a good job at pointing out the fact that this has really good wireless stability in congested environments, and I've confirmed that. So I have never had a single hiccup or glitch or any micro stutter in the sound on either console or PC in all of my time of testing this. I have over 20 hours of use on the Xbox model, and my PlayStation testing I did about 10 to 12 hours in a mix of PC and teleconferencing, so you can use this for Discord, Teams if you're working from home. It works on that really well. Even the Xbox One works fine on PC, you just don't get the game to chat mix on PC. But this is like top tier as far as stability goes and your audio performance for gaming. You get the positional accuracy. I mentioned testing headsets, less than 2/10 or 2 milliseconds of delay on audio lag for the transmitter. A lot of headsets are basically 0.4 to 0.6 seconds measured when I do latency tests. These got 0.15 to 0.2. So it's extremely fast. You get the audio stability, again, critical for gaming. You don't want audio cutouts, people telling you they can't hear you. And I love the controls because I can quickly adjust the game chat, the volume, tap to mute. It's just fast and intuitive. You know, when you're gaming and it's a high tense situation, boom, I'm muted. If friends are talking too loud, but you're in Gulag, boom, now all of a sudden I'm on full game audio and I don't hear my friends talking anymore. It's just got so much good stuff for it. And because it's reliable, I can recommend this to friends and family because I know they're not going to call me in 2 weeks saying, what the hell, my mic's not working, or whatever it may be. So they crushed it, guys. The Microsoft one made a huge splash because they had Bluetooth at 100, but it doesn't sound as good. And as a gamer, this is the most important thing. So if you don't have to have Bluetooth at 100, this is top tier. And I don't say that lightly, okay? I have a lot of headsets I've covered, and I absolutely love these things for the price. They just punch so far above their weight. So don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm actually reviewing the LS50X version from Lucid, which is a step up and across the board than this model, and it offers Bluetooth. That one retails for $250, so that review's coming out soon, along with other great tech, gadgets, audio, you name it. So thank you guys so much for the support. We've grown a ton. I owe a lot to you guys, and as always, I will see you next time.